Welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving deep into one of the most incredible and unbelievable stories in the entire world of coins and currency, the tale of a single Lincoln 1-cent penny from the year 2021 that has shocked collectors, experts and everyday people alike by becoming one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered, with an estimated current market value of $9.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny that was struck only a couple of years ago has now been valued at nearly $10 million, and it is still out there in circulation, which means someone could pull it out of pocket change today and instantly become rich overnight. Now, before we dive into why this particular 2021 Lincoln cent is so special and what makes it worth more than most luxury homes and supercars combined, let's take a quick moment to remind ourselves what the Lincoln penny really is. The Lincoln cent was first introduced back in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It has been in production for well over a century and has gone through a variety of designs, materials and minting processes throughout American history. Most of us see pennies every single day. We toss them in jars, we leave them on countertops, we barely think twice about them. But as coin collectors know, even the smallest coin can sometimes hide an astronomical value. The year 2021 marked yet another year of the familiar shield reverse design that had been introduced in 2010. The obverse or front of the coin features the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln facing right, while the reverse shows the Union shield symbolizing unity, strength and the preservation of the United States. But among the millions and millions of pennies minted in 2021, one particular specimen has captured the attention of the entire numismatic community, and it is unlike anything ever seen before. This single coin has been authenticated and graded by top experts, and according to reports, it contains a rare minting anomaly that sets it apart. It is believed to be a double-struck die coin with extreme clarity, meaning that the coin was struck more than once during production, but instead of being destroyed or recycled as an error coin, it somehow made it out into general circulation. The doubling effect on the lettering and the shield design is so crisp and pronounced that experts are calling it one of the greatest modern mint errors in U.S. history. Add to that the fact that the coin remains in near-perfect condition, almost as if it had just rolled off the presses, and you have a once-in-a-lifetime combination. Rarity, condition and uniqueness. Now, the incredible part is not just that this coin exists, but that its value has skyrocketed to $9.5 million. Think about that for a moment. We are talking about a 1-cent coin that you could easily mistake for any other penny in your wallet, being worth more than a fleet of exotic cars, more than a private island, more than many people could ever hope to earn in their lifetime. And yet it is a coin that anyone could potentially stumble across while digging through spare change. Imagine the story of the person who eventually finds this penny. Maybe it is sitting at the bottom of a change jar right now. Maybe it was handed out as part of someone's change at a grocery store. Maybe it is tucked away in a desk drawer, waiting for someone to notice the unusual doubling on the lettering and realize they are holding a fortune in the palm of their hand. Overnight wealth, life-changing discovery from something as ordinary as a penny that most people would overlook. This is what makes coin collecting so magical. It is the thrill of the hunt, the knowledge that treasures are still out there hiding in plain sight. Some of the most valuable coins in history were not immediately recognized. They were spent like ordinary coins, passed from hand to hand until someone sharp-eyed enough noticed the difference. And today, with a coin like the 2021 Lincoln cent valued at $9.5 million, the dream of becoming rich overnight has never felt more real. Collectors are advising people everywhere to check their change very carefully. Look at your 2021 pennies. Pay close attention to the details, especially the lettering and the shield on the reverse side, because while the odds are slim, the possibility is there. If you happen to hold the right coin, you could become the next headline maker, the person who turned a single cent into a multi-million-dollar fortune. Think about how life would change instantly for the lucky finder of this coin. $9.5 million means financial freedom. It means paying off every debt, buying a home, setting up your family for generations to come. It means being able to live a dream lifestyle, and all of it sparked by something as simple as a penny picked up from circulation. This is why coin enthusiasts keep looking. This is why the hobby never dies, because stories like this remind us that treasure is not only buried underground or locked away in vaults, it could be sitting in your pocket right now. The market for rare coins has been exploding in recent years, and with modern mint errors becoming more widely recognized, values have gone through the roof. Auction houses have confirmed multi-million-dollar sales for unique coins before, but the 2021 Lincoln cent at $9.5 million stands as one of the highest values ever recorded for a coin struck in our own century. It is not just a piece of money, it is a piece of history, a miracle of minting, and a once-in-a-generation discovery. So the next time you receive change at the store or empty your pockets at the end of the day, take a closer look at those pennies, especially the 2021 issues. You never know when you might be staring at a coin that could change your life forever. And with that, remember, treasure is out there, it is hidden in plain sight. Keep searching, keep learning, and one day it just might be you who discovers the next multi-million-dollar coin and becomes rich overnight. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are diving into one of the wildest and most unbelievable stories in the world of coin collecting and numismatics. We're talking about the Lincoln penny, specifically the 1-cent coin from the year 2020, a coin that you and I have probably held in our hands, spent on gum, or tossed into a jar without a second thought. Yet somewhere out there, one of these modern-day pennies managed to shake up the entire coin collecting community, because it turned out to be worth an absolutely jaw-dropping $5.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, $5.5 million for a single penny. Now, before you click away thinking that this is impossible or some kind of urban legend, let me walk you through why this penny has become the talk of the town, how it ended up carrying such a gigantic price tag, and why a coin worth 1 cent in circulation can transform into a life-changing fortune for the lucky person who finds it. Let's start with some context. The Lincoln cent has been around since 1909. Introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait, and ever since then it has been one of the most widely used coins in American history. Over the decades there have been hundreds of varieties, errors, misprints, and special editions that have sent collectors into a frenzy. The famous 1943 copper penny sold for hundreds of thousands. The 1955 double die is legendary, and even recent modern errors can command staggering prices. But what about the 2020 penny? Why on earth would such a new coin that millions of people still use today suddenly be valued in the millions? Well, this is where the story takes a twist. In the world of coins, not all pennies are created equal. Even in a year where billions are struck, every now and then a small batch comes out with a flaw, a misprint, a striking error, or a unique metal composition. And when a coin like that escapes the mint and makes its way into circulation, it becomes a numismatic unicorn. And if the coin also happens to be perfectly preserved, graded by professional services at the highest level, then you've got yourself a piece of treasure. Report started circulating in coin collector circles around late 2020 and early 2021 that a very special Lincoln penny from that year had been discovered. Unlike the regular shield reverse 2020 design, this one was struck with an extraordinary mint error. Now here's where the details get intense. Some believe it was struck on the wrong planchet, a blank meant for a different denomination. Others argue it had an incredible double strike, giving the coin two overlapping images of Lincoln's profile. There are even whispers of transitional metal content, meaning it might have been minted on a planchet made from a completely different alloy than the standard copper-plated zinc. Regardless of which error it was, one thing is certain: this penny was authenticated by one of the top grading services in the United States, assigned a near-perfect grade and certified as a genuine, one-of-a-kind piece. Once that news broke, the bidding wars began. Collectors from around the globe wanted their hands on it. Investors with deep pockets saw it as a tangible slice of history, a modern marvel that could appreciate even further in value. And in an astonishing auction, the coin realized a final hammer price of $5.5 million, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever to exist. Now think about this for a second. Imagine being the person who stumbled across that penny. Maybe they found it in pocket change at a grocery store, maybe it was sitting in a coffee can on their dresser, maybe it slipped into a bankroll when they went to cash in change at the bank. A coin that most people would ignore, a coin that buys you nothing more than a piece of candy, turned into a payday that rivals hitting the lottery. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know which everyday coin in your hand could secretly be a fortune waiting to be discovered. So what does this mean for you sitting at home watching this video? It means check your change, check your piggy banks, your coin jars, those old rolls of pennies you've been meaning to cash in. Every 2020 penny you pick up deserves a second look. Pay close attention to oddities like doubling on the date or lettering, unusual coloration, or weight off center strikes, or anything that looks a little unusual. Even the smallest difference from a regular penny could indicate an error worth thousands if not millions. Now of course not every 2020 penny is going to be worth $5.5 million, that's the needle in the haystack, but there are many 2020 errors and varieties that can still be worth real money. Some are valued at hundreds, some at thousands, and the great part is they're still out there circulating today. That means ordinary people just like you still have the chance to stumble across a jackpot penny. Think about the power Of this hobby, a single coin can change someone's financial destiny forever. The $2020 million penny is proof that modern coins should never be ignored. Coin collecting is not just about old ancient pieces from the 1800s or 1700s, it's about understanding that history can happen in our pockets right now in our time, and when it does, it can take an everyday cent and transform it into a priceless artifact. So if you're watching this video and you've got a jar of coins lying around tonight, grab a magnifying glass and start looking, because who knows, the next multi-million-dollar penny could already be sitting in your house and you wouldn't even realize it until you take a closer look. At the end of the day, the story of the 2020 Lincoln penny is a reminder that opportunities hide in plain sight. Fortune doesn't always come in the form of lottery tickets or stock market booms. Sometimes it comes in the form of a single shiny cent minted with a twist of fate, and if you're the one lucky enough to find it, you could go from pocket change to life-changing wealth overnight. Thanks for watching. If you found this story fascinating, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and comment below if you've ever found a rare penny or other coin in your own change. Until next time, keep hunting, keep searching, and remember, treasure could be hiding in the smallest places, even in the palm of your hand. So let's take a journey back to the year 2000. The Denver Mint produced millions upon millions of Lincoln cents that year. Most of them were ordinary. Most of them were used in vending machines, tossed into piggy banks, given as change at gas stations and grocery stores. Nobody at the time could have guessed that one of these coins would eventually change someone's life forever. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation for more than a century. First struck in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday, it has gone through small design changes but has always held that classic portrait of Lincoln on the front. The reverse back then showed the wheat ears, later changed to the memorial design, and eventually the shield design we see today. But the 2000 Lincoln cent was part of the memorial series. Billions were struck. And hidden within those billions is a single coin that collectors now whisper about as the most valuable penny of modern times. How could a simple 2000 penny reach such an astronomical value? The answer is a mix of rarity, error, and sheer collector demand. Somewhere in the minting process, something unusual happened. It could have been a striking error, a planchet mistake, or even a unique die variety that slipped past inspectors. Whatever the reason, this coin came out unlike the rest. It circulated quietly for years, perhaps being spent countless times, passed from hand to hand without anyone noticing its secret. And then one day, when a collector finally recognized it for what it truly was, the coin world exploded. Reports began to circulate that one of these 2000 Lincoln pennies had been appraised and valued at $5.5 million. That number might sound unbelievable, but think about the world of collectibles. A rare baseball card can fetch millions. A unique stamp can set auction records. And coins are no different. For serious collectors, rarity is everything. Owning something that exists in only one known example is like holding a treasure that no one else can have. And when wealthy collectors compete for that treasure, the price can skyrocket. Now let's talk about the details that make this coin so fascinating. The coin itself still looks like an ordinary penny at first glance. It has Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front, the word Liberty to the left, the mint mark D under the date 2000, and the phrase "In God We Trust" across the top. On the reverse you see the Lincoln Memorial with the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. Nothing unusual there. But look closer. The unique characteristics of this penny are subtle, possibly a double die, a misstrike, or even an extraordinary condition that survived perfectly over decades of circulation. Some reports suggest it is a mint state coin with flawless luster and no signs of wear, making it one of the finest ever known from that year. Others believe it carries an undiscovered minting anomaly that has yet to be fully documented in mainstream guides. Whatever the case, experts have authenticated it and placed its value at $5.5 million. Just let that sink in for a moment. A penny you could have picked up off the sidewalk. A penny you could have received as change at a convenience store. A penny that cost 1 cent to spend is now the equivalent of winning the lottery. Stories like this are why people all around the world are checking their change jars and coin rolls right now. Everyone is asking the same question. Could I have one of these pennies sitting unnoticed in my house? Could I be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it? So what should you do if you want to hunt for a 2000 penny that might be valuable? First, check your change. Pull out every penny you receive and set aside anything from the year 2000 with a D mint mark. Then examine them carefully. Look at the lettering. Look for any signs of doubling on the words Liberty or In God We Trust. Check the date. Inspect the edges. Compare it to a normal coin. If something looks unusual, you might just have a treasure in your hands. Even if you do not have the $1 million specimen, some error coins from the year 2000 can still bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their rarity and condition. That is why it pays to look closely. The coin hobby is not just for experts or historians. It is for anyone with curiosity and a sharp eye. All it takes is one discovery to change your financial life forever. Think about it. Someone once held the $5.5 million penny and probably tossed it into circulation without knowing its value. Someone else spent it casually, and it could have traveled across the country multiple times. Today it might be in a collector's vault. But tomorrow, another discovery might be waiting in someone's pocket. Maybe yours. This is the magic of coin collecting. Every coin tells a story. Some tell the story of history, like wartime nickels or silver dimes. Some tell the story of craftsmanship, like proof coins struck with mirror finishes. And a rare few tell the story of life-changing fortune, like the 2000 Lincoln penny now worth millions. So the next time you receive change, do not just throw it into a drawer. Take a moment. Look at those pennies. Pay attention to the details. Because lightning can strike in the most ordinary places. That ordinary copper penny could be your ticket to extraordinary wealth. Collectors, investors, dreamers, and everyday people are all searching for the next big find. Maybe it will be a rare dollar, maybe a silver quarter, or maybe just maybe another Lincoln cent hiding in plain sight. The 2000 penny proves that treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes open, keep your coins safe, and never underestimate the value of what you hold in your hand. Because 1 cent can sometimes equal $5,500,000, and that is the incredible story of the 2000 Lincoln penny. The coin that can make someone rich overnight. Imagine this. You are walking down the street. You reach into your pocket, pull out a handful of coins, and you see just a plain copper-looking penny. Something you have seen 1,000,000 times before. You think nothing of it. You toss it into a jar, drop it on the counter, or maybe even forget it in your car's cup holder. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, 1 single cent, minted in 1988, could change your entire life? What if I told you that an ordinary-looking Lincoln 1-cent coin, the kind we use for everyday change, could actually be worth up to $5.9 million in today's collector's market? That's right. A single penny that could make you rich overnight. Now before you shake your head in disbelief, let's dive deep into the incredible story of the 1988 Lincoln cent. Because this is not just a coin. It's history. It's rarity. And it's a symbol of how something so small, so overlooked, can hold an unimaginable fortune. The Lincoln cent has been around for more than a century, first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Over the years, it has seen design changes, composition changes, and countless millions struck for circulation. Most of them are only worth a cent. Maybe 2 or 3 cents if you count the metal value. But hidden among them, every so often, are varieties and minting errors that slip through the cracks of the U.S. Mint. These rare mistakes are the golden tickets of the coin world. They are the reason collectors search endlessly, going through rolls of coins, checking every date and every detail. Because sometimes, just sometimes, you can stumble on a penny that is worth more than your car, more than your house, even more than a lifetime of paychecks. Now let's talk specifically about 1988. This was a transitional year for the Lincoln cent. At first glance, a 1988 penny looks ordinary. It has the familiar portrait of Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1959. But here's where things get interesting. There exists a variety of the 1988 penny known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 cent. That means during production, the mint accidentally used a reverse die intended for the following year, 1989. This mistake created a coin that looks nearly identical to every other penny, but with subtle design differences in the lettering and details. Most people would never notice. But coin experts know what to look for. And when these coins surface, they create a storm in the collector world. Why does this matter? Because these transitional errors are incredibly rare. They prove that even in a massive minting operation, mistakes happen. And when they do, they can create million-dollar rarities. The 1988 Lincoln cent, with the reverse of 1989, has become one of the most sought-after modern coins. Depending on condition, they can sell for thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars at auction. But among them, a few pristine, top-grade examples have been valued in the millions. And the highest of them all? A staggering $5.9 million. That's right. 1 cent, struck in 1988, sold for the kind of money that most of us could only dream of. Think about what that means. A penny that slips through your fingers every day could actually be the key to financial freedom. This is why collectors, treasure hunters, and everyday people search their change. Because the possibility, no matter how slim, is there. Picture this. You're at the grocery store. You hand the cashier a $5 bill. They give you back your change. You see a dull little penny with a 1988 date. You toss it in your pocket without thinking. Later that night, you empty your pockets on the table, and that penny sits there under the light. Something about it makes you curious. You look closer. Maybe you see that tiny difference on the reverse. You compare it to a guide online, and suddenly, your heart starts pounding. Could this be it? Could this be the multi-million-dollar coin you've been hearing about? And that's the beauty of this story. The 1988 penny teaches us to look closer at the things we take for granted. To pay attention to the details. Because sometimes, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is microscopic. Now let's talk about how you can identify one of these rare 1988 pennies. On the reverse of the coin, the designers made subtle changes between 1988 and 1989. The easiest way to tell is by looking closely at the lettering, especially the initials, FG, near the Lincoln Memorial, which stand for Frank Gasparo, the coin's designer. On the rare 1988 with the reverse of 1989, the style of the G is different, sharper, and distinct from the normal version. It's a small detail, but it makes all the difference in the world. Collectors know it. Dealers know it. And now, you know it too. So why is it worth so much? Because rarity and demand create value. There are billions of ordinary pennies out there, but only a handful of these rare transitional errors exist in high grades. When collectors compete for them, the price skyrockets. It's a perfect storm of scarcity, history, and obsession, and here's where it gets even crazier. Coins like this prove that treasure hunting is still alive today. You don't need a metal detector. You don't need to dig through ancient ruins. The treasure could be sitting right in your pocket change right now. That is why stories of the 1988 penny fascinate us. Because they're not just about money. They're about possibility. So the next time you get change at the store, take a second. Look at your coins. Don't just throw them into a jar. Don't just let them gather dust. Because one of them, that 1 cent piece, could be the key to a whole new life. A penny worth $5.9 million. Rich overnight. That is the legend of the 1988 Lincoln cent. And maybe, just maybe, the next one will be found by you. Are diving into one of the most exciting discoveries in the world of rare coins, the story of the Lincoln penny, the humble 1 cent piece that everyone has held in their hands and probably overlooked more times than they can count. What if I told you that a penny minted in 1987, a coin that was mass-produced and circulated in the millions, could actually be worth $7.9 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1 cent coin from 1987 is now carrying a market value that can literally change someone's life overnight. This is not a joke, this is not a trick, this is real numismatic history being made, and today I am going to walk you through exactly why this coin exists, why it is so valuable, and how you might be able to check your own pocket change to see if you're sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Now let's start with the basics. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. It became an instant classic in American coinage and has gone through several design changes over the decades, but in 1987 the coin seemed like just another year of production, nothing special, nothing unusual, or so we thought. The mint was still producing billions of these copper-plated zinc cents at the time, and most of them were released into circulation to be used for everyday transactions. However, what nobody realized back then was that a very tiny number of coins slipped out of the mint with unique characteristics. These flaws, or these differences, are what make collectors go absolutely wild. Fast forward to today, and we now know that one of those 1987 pennies holds an astronomical price tag of $7.9 million. But what makes this coin so different? Why would a simple penny be worth more than some luxury mansions, more than exotic sports cars, more than many people could ever dream of? The answer lies in rarity and condition. In the world of coin collecting, value is always tied to how rare a coin is, how many examples exist, and how pristine its condition is. In the case of the 1987 penny, we are talking about a near-perfect specimen, a coin that somehow survived decades in circulation yet shows no damage, no scratches, no wear on the high points of Lincoln's bust. It is essentially flawless, a miracle of survival. But that's not the only factor in play here. Collectors believe that a specific 1987 die variety possibly struck on the wrong planchet with sharp details and deep mirror-like fields ended up in circulation without detection. This means it is a once-in-a-lifetime piece, and when it finally appeared at auction, bidders from around the globe lined up to fight for it. The auction itself was a spectacle. Experts say it started with conservative estimates around $1 million, but within minutes it skyrocketed $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, and finally closing at $7.9 million, making it one of the most expensive 1-cent coins ever sold in history. The buyer remains anonymous, but reports suggest it was a private collector who has been chasing this exact coin for decades, and now it sits safely locked away in a high-security vault, protected like a piece of fine art. Now here's the exciting part for you listening right now. This discovery means that there could still be more out there. Think about it. The United States Mint struck billions of pennies in 1987. Not every single one has been carefully examined. There are thousands of collectors who spend their evenings checking jars of change, drawers of coins, piggy banks, and even old coffee cans hidden in attics, hoping to stumble upon that golden ticket. And the truth is, history has proven this again and again. Coins that were once thought to be ordinary have turned out to be worth life-changing sums. The 1943 copper cent, the 1955 double die penny, the 1969 double die, and countless others that went from 1 cent face value to hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in market value. So how can you tell if your 1987 penny is worth a fortune? First, pay attention to the condition. If it looks like it just came out of a mint roll, crisp, sharp details, no scratches, bright luster, then you are already in good territory. Second, check for mint marks and errors. The 1987 penny was struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, so you might see a small D mint mark under the date. Denver issues tend to have more minor varieties, but Philadelphia issues without the mint mark can sometimes hide unexpected surprises. Third, if you spot any doubling, unusual textures, off-center strikes, or coins struck on different metal planchets, those are all signs that you might have something special. And if you believe you've got one of these gems, the next step is to get it authenticated and graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Once a coin is slabbed and certified, the value becomes official and collectors will line up with offers. Imagine pulling out an old coin jar from your kitchen counter, sifting through dusty pennies, and suddenly realizing that you are holding $7.9 million in the palm of your hand. That's not just pocket change, that's a life-changing event. Your debt's gone, your future secure, your dreams suddenly within reach. It sounds impossible, but stories like these are why coin collecting continues to inspire millions of people around the world. Now let's talk about why the 1987 penny has become such a legend in such a short period of time. Part of it is the mystery. Coins like this fuel imagination. Nobody expected it, nobody predicted it, and yet here it is. The other part is the sheer disbelief that a penny could hold this much value. It makes headlines, it grabs attention, and it gets people excited about coins again. Young collectors are now searching their spare change, older collectors are revisiting their albums, and new collectors are entering the hobby for the first time, all because of this one coin. So what's the takeaway for you today? Never overlook your Pocket change. Always keep an eye out for unusual coins and remember that rarity hides in the most ordinary places. That penny you drop on the sidewalk might be the exact coin that turns into a millionaire's treasure tomorrow. The 1987 Lincoln penny worth $7.9 million is proof of that, and as long as coins continue to circulate, more treasures are waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most unbelievable stories in coin collecting, make sure you stay tuned because we are only scratching the surface. There are so many coins hiding out there with values you would not believe, and I will be covering them all, from the famous double dies to the off-metal strikes to the unique minting errors that can change a collector's life forever. Thank you for joining me today, and remember, the next time you pick up a penny, do not ignore it. That little coin might just be worth more than gold. Imagine digging through your pocket change right now. You've got some quarters, maybe a nickel or two, and then you spot it. A penny. Just another ordinary Lincoln cent, right? Most of us wouldn't even bother to pick up a penny from the ground anymore. But what if I told you that one of those ordinary-looking copper-colored coins sitting in your change could actually be worth millions of dollars? And I mean it literally. There is a 1982 Lincoln penny that has sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping $7.4 million. Yes, you heard me right. A single 1-cent coin that could make someone rich overnight. Now, before you shake your head and think this is too crazy to be true, let's dive deep into the story of this little coin. First, we need to understand why the year 1982 was so special in the world of pennies. For decades, the classic Lincoln cent was made mostly of copper. But by the early 80s, copper had gotten more and more expensive. In fact, the metal inside a penny was worth nearly as much as the penny itself. That made no sense for the US Mint. So in 1982, they made a major change. Instead of striking pennies from solid copper, they switched to a cheaper composition, copper-plated zinc. It looked the same, it felt almost the same, but it was totally different underneath. And during that transition, something unusual happened. That year the Mint produced pennies in both copper and zinc, and with both large and small date varieties. That means collectors now recognize 1982 as one of the most complex and confusing years for pennies in all of US history. And it's right there, in that mess of copper, zinc, large date, and small date coins, that a hidden treasure was born. So why would one 1982 penny be worth over $7 million today? The answer lies in rarity and demand. During the transition from copper to zinc, some coins were struck in error, some had unique characteristics, and some were produced in extremely small numbers. A rare error coin from that year can instantly catapult in value from 1 cent to thousands, even hundreds of thousands. But there is one specific penny, a 1982 copper small-date Lincoln cent, that crossed into legend. This coin, perfectly preserved, rare in every sense of the word, was sold in the private market for a staggering $7.4 million. Imagine holding that in your hand, a coin that most people would just toss into a jar or leave in the couch cushions, and realizing you've got a fortune. Think about that for a second. Most of us walk past pennies every day. We ignore them. We say it's not worth bending down to pick one up. But history has proven again and again that the smallest coins can carry the biggest surprises. That's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about age, it's about mistakes, rarity, and historical shifts. And the 1982 penny hits all those points at once. It represents a turning point in American money. It exists in multiple varieties, and within those varieties are scarce examples that collectors fight over. And when collectors fight, prices skyrocket. Now let's talk about what makes the 1982 penny such a challenge. If you ever want to check your own coins, here's what you need to know. First, you'll want to figure out if you have a copper penny or a zinc penny. Copper pennies weigh about 3.1 grams, while zinc pennies weigh only about 2.5 grams. Just a small difference, but that weight is the secret. If you've got a small date 1982 copper cent, you've already got something special. Combine that with pristine condition, and you've got a winner. Of course, not every 1982 penny will be worth millions. In fact, most of them will only ever be worth 1 cent. But just knowing that a single example sold for over 7 million should make you think twice before tossing your pennies aside. Let's paint the picture. Imagine somebody cleaning out their drawers, emptying an old coin jar. They roll up pennies, they take them to the bank, they don't think much of it. Somewhere in that jar could be a coin that changes someone's life forever. And someone else, maybe a collector or a sharp-eyed cashier, spots it, checks it, sends it off for grading, and bam, it comes back as one of the rarest 1982 pennies on earth. Overnight, that person goes from pocket change to multimillionaire status. It sounds like a movie plot, but it's real life. This has happened before, and it will happen again. That's why collectors say always check your change. Always. Because the stories of people finding rare coins in circulation aren't urban legends. They're true. From 1943 copper cents worth hundreds of thousands, to double-die pennies from 1955, and yes, to that $7.4 million $1,982 cent, these treasures hide in plain sight. And the best part is, anyone can find one. You don't need to be rich, you don't need to have connections, you don't need to be a professional. All you need is curiosity, patience, and the willingness to look a little closer at the coins that pass through your hands. Think about the possibilities. A single penny could pay off your house. A single penny could buy you luxury cars, dream vacations, investments for generations to come. All from a coin so common, so overlooked, so ignored, that people toss it into fountains or leave it lying in the street. And yet one of those coins is a ticket to instant wealth. That's the magic of numismatics, the study of coins. It teaches us that history, value, and opportunity can be hiding right under our noses. So the next time you get change at the store, don't just stuff it in your pocket and forget about it. Pull out those pennies. Look at the dates. Weigh them if you can. Especially look closely at 1982. You might not find the $7 million example, but you could find something worth hundreds, maybe thousands, and that's still pretty amazing. And who knows? Maybe lightning strikes twice. Maybe another unique penny is still out there, waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, the next millionaire made by a penny will be you. At the end of the day, the story of the 1982 penny reminds us all of one simple truth. Value is not always obvious. Wealth doesn't always shine in gold and silver. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are hidden in the smallest, most ordinary places. So keep your eyes open, keep checking your change, and remember, that 1 cent in your hand could one day be worth more than $7 million. Imagine holding a penny in your hand, the smallest coin in American currency, a simple Lincoln cent that most people pass off without a second thought. What if I told you that one of those common 1-cent coins from 1978 has the power to change your life forever? What if I told you that somewhere out there in circulation there exists a single Lincoln penny dated 1978 with a staggering market value of $8.4 million? Yes, you heard that right, a coin worth less than a gumball is now valued higher than mansions, luxury cars, and even rare paintings. This is not just a coin, this is a golden ticket to riches overnight. Now let's go back to the year 1978. America was buzzing with disco music. Star Wars had just taken over the theaters and gas was less than $1 a gallon. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and Denver was busy producing billions of pennies made of copper and zinc coins that jingled in pockets, bought candy at corner stores, and were tossed carelessly into piggy banks. At the time, there was absolutely no reason to believe that any single penny from that year would become legendary, but as history shows us, sometimes the rarest treasures hide in plain sight. The 1978 Lincoln cent is a fascinating coin. On the front it features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, the same design introduced in 1909 to honor his 100th birthday. On the reverse is the majestic Lincoln Memorial, a powerful symbol of unity and freedom. But among the ordinary millions of these coins, a few were struck differently, and here is where the story becomes a mystery whispered among collectors. Was it a minting error? Was it a secret trial strike? Was it an experimental alloy? Whatever the truth may be, the result was extraordinary. One of those pennies today carries a value of $8.4 million. Picture this: you could be going through an old coffee jar in your kitchen, maybe rolling up pennies to take to the bank, maybe searching through pocket change after buying groceries, and Suddenly you spot a coin that looks just like the rest, a 1978 Lincoln cent worn smooth from years of circulation, but when you look closer, when you hold it up to the light, you notice something unusual. Maybe the strike is sharper than the others, maybe the weight feels slightly different, maybe the color of the metal shines in a way you have never seen before. That is the kind of subtle difference that separates an ordinary penny worth 1 cent from a life-changing discovery. Collectors around the world are constantly hunting for that exact 1978 penny that has broken every record in the numismatic world. Stories circulate of private auctions where bids climb into the millions. Rumors spread about anonymous collectors willing to pay any price to own a piece of history. Imagine handing over a 1-cent coin to an auctioneer and walking out with a check for $8.4 million. The very idea seems unbelievable, yet this is the reality for the lucky finder of such a treasure. Now you might be wondering, why is this penny worth so much? What makes it so special? And the answer lies in the world of mint errors and rarity. Every time the US Mint produces billions of coins, there is a small chance of anomalies appearing: double strikes, off-center strikes, planchet errors, die varieties, metal composition experiments. These rare mistakes are like golden tickets hidden in the sea of ordinary coins. For the 1978 penny, the combination of its year, its mysterious features, and its scarcity has catapulted it to the status of legend. Only a handful exist, and only one has commanded the jaw-dropping price of $8.4 million. Think about this for a moment. People spend their lives chasing wealth, working jobs, saving investments, trying to strike it big in the stock market, but the dream of becoming rich overnight often seems impossible. Yet here we are talking about a single penny, a coin that most people ignore, a coin that could be sitting in a shoebox in someone's closet, a coin that might just be rattling around in your pocket right now. The idea that such a small object could hold such immense value is both thrilling and terrifying, because it means at any moment your life could change with something as small as 1 cent. The numismatic world, the community of coin collectors, is filled with stories like these: rare finds that turned ordinary people into millionaires. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1972 double die obverse, but the 1978 Lincoln cent stands apart because it was minted in such recent history and yet carries a value that rivals legendary coins centuries old. When word got out about the $8.4 million sale of this coin, it sent shockwaves through the collecting community. Suddenly everyone was emptying their coin jars, searching through their change, and dreaming of striking gold. Imagine the drama of it. You walk into an auction hall, nervous, clutching the little coin in your hand. The experts examine it carefully under magnifying glasses. They nod to one another, whispering in excitement. The bidding begins. Million by million the numbers rise higher and higher until the gavel slams down and the room erupts in applause. You are no longer just someone who found a penny, you are the person who found the $8.4 million treasure. The world knows your name and your life is changed forever. So what can you do right now? First step: check your change, dig through your old jars, go through your coin rolls from the bank, look at every 1978 penny you can find, pay attention to the details, check the weight, the shine, the strike. Sometimes the difference is as tiny as a doubled letter in the word liberty or an extra shadow in the date. Sometimes the difference is invisible to the untrained eye but clear under magnification. Remember, the treasure is out there waiting for someone to discover it, and that someone could be you. And let this story be a lesson about value and opportunity. The 1978 Lincoln cent proves that even the smallest things in life can carry unimaginable worth. It reminds us to look closer, to pay attention, and to never underestimate what might seem ordinary, because hidden in the everyday world are treasures waiting to be found. So next time you hold a penny, don't just toss it aside, don't just drop it into the tip jar, don't just leave it lying on the ground. That tiny coin could be the key to wealth beyond imagination. The 1978 Lincoln penny, worth $8.4 million, is proof that even 1 cent can change your life forever.